Welcome to Breakup Cheater, the place where real-life heartbreak, betrayal, and shocking truths come alive. Here we dive deep into stories of love, trust, and the dark moments that test us, and sometimes change us forever. Brace yourself. Because the truth is rarely what it seems. The sound of the key rattling in the lock should have been comforting. I had come home late from work, exhausted, expecting the familiar warmth of our living room, the soft hum of Emily's music in the background, maybe her smile greeting me at the door. But instead I found something that made my stomach twist violently. Emily stumbled into the apartment, her coat hanging loosely from her shoulders. Her face was pale, but that wasn't what made my heart slam against my ribs. It was the dark purple mark on her cheek, fading into red bruises along her jawline. Her lip was swollen, and there was a faint smear of blood at the corner of her mouth. "Emily!" choked, my voice cracking. I wanted to run to her to hold her, but a part of me froze, not knowing how she would respond. She tried to force a smile, weak and trembling. "Hey, I'm okay," she whispered, but the tremor in her voice betrayed her. I felt anger rising like a wildfire in my chest. "Okay. You've been hit, Emily. Who did this to you?" Her eyes darted away, glancing at the floor. For a terrifying moment, I thought she might shrink from me, as if trying to protect someone else. It's nothing. Just work stuff," she said, voice barely above a whisper. I shook my head, disbelief mingling with rising panic. "Work stuff? Emily, there's a bruise on your face the size of my fist. Tell me the truth." Her shoulders slumped, and she finally let out a long, shuddering breath. It was Greg," she said. The name alone made my blood run cold. Greg, her boss. The man I'd seen once or twice at company parties, smiling too widely, lingering a moment too long when we shook hands. "Greg hit you." My voice was sharp now, cutting through the room like glass. She nodded, her lips trembling. He lost it. I told him I couldn't stay late anymore, that I had personal stuff. He snapped. I felt my hands clench into fists. The fury was immediate, raw and cold. Every protective instinct I had for Emily surged, mingled with a creeping sense of disbelief and fear. "I'm calling him," I said before she could protest. "No. You can't. It's complicated," she tried to stop me, but her weakness only pushed me further. I needed answers. I needed him to know that he would not get away with this. I dialed Greg's office number with a trembling hand. The sound of his voice when he answered made my blood boil. "Greg. This is Michael, Emily's husband." There was a pause on the other end, the kind that makes you realize he knew exactly why you were calling. "Michael, what's this about?" His tone was casual, bordering on arrogant. "Don't play dumb," I said, my voice low and dangerous. "I know what you did to Emily. I saw her, she's bruised, her lips split, and she's terrified. You hit her." Chuckle came through the line. "Come on, Michael. You're overreacting. She's fine, it's nothing." "Don't lie to me," I snapped. "You hit her. And I want you to understand something very clearly. If I ever hear about you laying a hand on her again, you will regret it for the rest of your life." There was silence. Then, almost imperceptibly, his voice changed. The smugness was gone. "Listen. I can explain." "Explain what?" "Bark. How you think you can assault my wife and get away with it? You're done, Greg. And believe me, I'm not just talking threats. You messed with the wrong family." I hung up before he could respond. My heart was racing, but the fire of fury burned brighter than fear. I grabbed Emily's hand, shaking her gently. "We need to go to the police. Right now. We cannot let him think this is okay." She looked down at our entwined hands, tears threatening to spill. "Michael. I don't want it to get worse for me. I can't lose my job." I pulled her close, brushing her hair back from her face. "And you won't. I promise you I'll protect you. But we can't just let this slide. Not him, not anyone." The police report took hours, but finally we had documented everything. Emily gave her statement, trembling as she recounted the events, while I stood beside her, silent but vigilant. Her voice faltered at times, but she never wavered from telling the truth. When we left the station, I expected relief, a sense of safety. But instead, there was a heaviness I couldn't shake. Emily's face told a story that words could not, and I realized something that made my chest tighten painfully. This wasn't the only secret she had been keeping. Over the next few days, I noticed small things. Messages on her phone she left open too quickly. Emails she quickly minimized when I walked into the room. Little lies that added up to something larger. My gut twisted with suspicion, but I held back, trying to focus on her safety. Then one evening I found it. A series of messages from Greg, flirty, suggestive, even manipulative. Emily's words weren't resisting his. They were inviting him in ways that made my stomach churn. Every word a betrayal, each sentence a blade twisting in my heart. I confronted her gently at first, the hurt heavy in my chest. "Emily, these messages, what is this?" Her face paled, and she looked at me like she had been caught in a storm she couldn't control. "Michael, it wasn't. I didn't mean for it to go this far. Not meant to go this far. Emily, he hit you. And you still." My voice cracked, grief and fury blending into one. "You let it happen. And you let it go further." Tears streamed down her face. "I didn't know how to stop it. I didn't want to ruin my career. I didn't want to lose you." "You didn't want to lose me," I repeated, disbelief sharp in my voice. "But you've already lost me, Emily. Part of me is gone. You've been betraying me, letting him into our lives in ways I never imagined." She reached out, but I stepped back, the distance between us widening with every heartbeat. "Michael, please." I was scared, I didn't know what to do. And that's when I realized. Fear had been her guide, not loyalty, not love. And yet, even in that fear, there was a decision she made. A choice that left me questioning everything about us. I spent that night alone, staring at the ceiling, trying to reconcile the woman I loved with the woman who had let herself be compromised. By morning I had made a decision. I couldn't let her go through this alone, not entirely. But I couldn't ignore the betrayal either. I needed clarity, justice, and truth before anything else. I made a single phone call, one that would change everything. Not to threaten, not to scare, but to hold someone accountable. I called Greg's direct line. This time I was calm, collected, every word precise. "Greg, this is Michael. Listen closely. I've spoken to the police, and I have everything documented. You will not touch Emily again. You will not contact her. If you do, the consequences will be severe. And believe me, I mean that." There was a pause, a quiet, tense silence. Then he laughed nervously, the arrogance finally cracking. "Look, Michael, it's not what it looks like." Cut him off. "It looks exactly like it is. And this is your final warning. One more step toward her, and I promise you'll regret it for the rest of your life. Do you understand me?" "Yes. Yes, I understand," he stammered, fear finally coloring his tone. I hung up, and for the first time in days, I felt a flicker of control, a fragile sense of justice. But the emotional wreckage remained. Emily and I were fractured, and there was no quick fix. Over the following weeks, Emily and I attended counseling, spoke with HR, and began the slow, painful process of rebuilding. It was messy, filled with tears, arguments, and confessions of fear and guilt. She admitted the emotional infidelity, the ways she had rationalized Greg's advances, the small compromises that had escalated to bigger betrayals. I listened, my heart aching, torn between the love I still felt for her and the betrayal that lingered like a shadow. "Emily, I want to believe we can get past this," I said one night, holding her hand but keeping a slight distance. "But it will take time. And it will never be easy." "I know, Michael," she whispered, voice trembling. "I'll do anything. I'll do everything to make this right." And slowly, painfully, we began to rebuild. Not perfectly, not as if the past could be erased, but with a cautious hope. The bruises faded, but the lessons stayed. Trust, once broken, is never whole again, but it can be mended enough to survive, if both are willing to confront the truth and fight together. Emily and I learned something fundamental in those harrowing weeks. Love alone is never enough. Courage, honesty, and accountability are the pillars that hold a relationship together when it seems everything has crumbled. And while I could never forget the betrayal, nor the fear that had gripped her and by extension our lives, I discovered something else too. A fierce protective instinct and the ability to confront injustice head-on, even when it comes from someone who once seemed untouchable. We never spoke of the word forgive lightly. Forgiveness wasn't a free pass. It was a choice we made every day, a deliberate act of rebuilding trust brick by brick. And as we walked together, hand in hand, through the quiet streets of our neighborhood, I realized that love was not about perfection. It was about surviving the storms, together, scarred but stronger, with eyes wide open to both the beauty and fragility of human emotion. Thank you for watching this story on Breakup Cheater. If you felt the heartbreak, the suspense, or the shock, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories that will pull you in and keep you on edge. Share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. Because here, every story matters and every voice is heard. Until next time. Stay aware, stay safe, and keep your eyes open for the truths hiding in plain sight.